Hey everyone, we're going to be going over questions 13 through 15 in this video. So if you need any help with the statements, the statement sheets, income statement, retained earnings statement, or the balance sheet, you've come to the right place. First thing I want to remind everyone is that with the time period, point in time, how do you remember that? Anytime there's a statement, so you have the income statement and the statement of retained earnings, those are going to be a period of time. The only one of these that isn't a statement is the balance sheet. It doesn't say statement in balance sheet, and that one is a point in time. So for a period of a time, those are with statements, and then a point of time is for the balance sheet. All right, moving on. A great start with this is to review the accounting equation. So assets equals liabilities plus equity. Having this written down really helps to reference and remember where do I go next. And we're actually going to start kind of backwards, oddly enough. So for the income statement, question 13, start down at the bottom of equity. Because what is income really? Income is what comes in and comes out of your equity. And like money is coming in from somewhere else or you're giving money out to somewhere else. So that's going to be revenues and expenses. So that's why we're starting all the way down here for question 13. And moving on, at the bottom, you'll notice it's like net blank. After you discover your revenue and then you subtract your expenses from that, then you'll see if that's positive, total. If your revenue is greater than your expenses, then you're going to have a net income. If your expenses are greater than your revenue, you're going to end up having a net loss, and that's where you'll find that out right there. The next question is about your retained earnings, and you'll notice this is where we go up, and you'll see retained earnings. We're just staying on this side of equity, but we will discuss dividends in this question as well. So in this question, we don't have a time period before this. We just start right off the bat with a 0, and it puts that in for you. And then you're actually going to have to refer back to your income statement. So it's really important that you do that first to see your net income or your net loss. And that's where you're going to put in that first column. Because you got to see, what have I earned? Retained earnings is all about what has changed in this since the last period. And so far, have you lost or have you earned? And that's what you're going to do there. And then if you have any dividends, then you put that right there and you'll subtract that to come up with your retained earnings at the end of this period of time. Remember, retained earnings is a statement, so it's a period of time. You have the start and the end. All right, last but not least, we have our balance sheet, and this is where we come all the way back to the very start of our accounting equation. You'll notice that the balance sheet has kind of 2 columns, whereas these ones only had 1, except for the areas where to put the cash totals. And this is because you have the left and the right side of the equation. So assets equals liability and equity. That's why there's 2 columns. And then you'll just refer back to the beginning of the question where it has all of the totals of every segment, and you will decide which of these is an asset, which of these is a liability, and which of these is equity. And then it'll calculate your totals as you put those in, and you'll just have to decide, try to remember which total goes where. Remember, liability, equity. So you have your total of your equity and then your total of your liability and equity. So that about sums up the basics of everything. If you have any more questions that I didn't talk about here, I'm happy to help in the replies to this video. So let me know if you need anything.